Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Liz, and in today's Workshop Wednesday, I'm going to teach you how you can transfer images 3 different ways on 3 different materials. So let's go ahead and jump on in. For this first one, you are going to take a piece of fabric. It doesn't matter what kind of fabric it is, whatever kind of pattern you like, any kind of fabric will do. You're going to cut it down to the size of printer paper. So 8.5 by 11. You're going to want to make sure that your fabric is nice and smooth. There's no wrinkles in it. I'm using my Cricut heat press because I was too lazy to get my iron out. Now I'm going to take a piece of label paper and I'm going to stick my fabric down to this. This is going to ensure that my fabric goes through my printer without bunching up or getting stuck. And then it's also going to make sure that you don't have ink bleeding through the fabric and getting all over your printer. You could also do this with double-sided sticky tape and a piece of cardstock. It's really your preference, but I'm just going to use that label paper and stick my fabric right down to it. Now all I'm going to do is put that into my printer and print my image out onto my fabric. This image is something that I just purchased off of Design Bundles, so it's not one that I created myself. So this project literally took me like 5 minutes to do. All I'm going to do is place the fabric still attached to that paper into a Dollar Tree frame. And that's it. Super easy. And I have this adorable picture on this fabric. You could obviously do this for so many different kinds of projects, whether that be pillows or some sort of decorative material. I don't know. There are so many different ways that you can go with it, and I thought this turned out super cute.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know
If you guys are new here, hey, my name's Liz, and I love everything crafting and DIY. If that's something that you love as well, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and becoming a part of my little crafting family. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, where I will keep you up to date with future projects or projects that I'm working on behind the scenes. And then you can shop my decals through my Facebook shop. For this next one, we're going to apply some images to wood. So these are some wood pile cubes that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. All I'm going to do is paint them white in my Waverly chalk paint. The next thing you're going to do is grab some wax paper and a piece of printer paper to cut that wax paper down to the size of printer paper. Now, what I have found when doing this is that you want to make sure that that wax paper is nice and sturdy. I tried this a couple times without attaching my wax paper to anything, and my printer just ate it up. So I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did before with the fabric. I'm going to take a piece of label paper and I'm going to stick that down to it so that my wax paper is nice and firm. It's not going to get eaten up by my printer. So after I've cut it down, that is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to attach it to my label paper. I'll put it right in my printer just like you normally would for a normal piece of paper. Now, one thing when you are doing this, when you're printing on wax paper, you want to make sure that you flip your image. Whatever image it is, you want to make sure it's flipped because you are going to put your image that is face up on that wax paper face down onto your image. So always make sure that you flip your image if you're doing words or anything like that. Just make sure they are flipped. The one thing that I really like about this technique is that it makes the letters and images look really antiqued. When you apply this to your project, it looks really faded, and I really like the way it looks. So all I'm gonna do is cut out each of my images individually. Obviously, if you're doing this on a full-size project, you don't have to cut anything out. You would just lay your whole project down. You are going to hold it down there, press along your entire image, and then I'm going to take the back of a paintbrush and just run it over the entire image to really get that ink to seep down into that wood. And you want to make sure that you aren't moving your image around so that when you pull it off, there's no ink smudges. And I'm just gonna go through each of my different images and do this to all of them. Like I said, just go ahead and press firmly where you want it, and then use the back of anything, paintbrush, credit card, any kind of scraper tool, anything really, to just get that image to transfer onto your project. And like I said before, I think this turns out really, really awesome because it does have that kind of antiqued look to it. It's gotta be one of my favorite ways to transfer an image because I love the way it looks.
Never figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high.
Now for this last one, this is going to be the easiest out of all of them. I just took this image and I printed it out with my printer. I'm going to take a black colored pencil. You could also just use a regular pencil, and you are going to flip that over and scribble all over the back of it. Wherever that image is on the front, you want to make sure that you color the back of it. Now I'm just going to place that on my paper. Obviously, I've been loving taking pattern. So I took this piece of scrapbook paper and I'm going to flip my image back over so the scribble marks are on top of your project. And you're going to take a pen or a pencil and you are just going to trace over that entire image. So anywhere that you want that image to show up onto your project, you want to go over with your pen or pencil, and you want to make sure that you're pressing pretty hard so that you can get that colored pencil or pencil to transfer onto your project. Now you can see here what it's going to look like. So you can see that I have, it basically just looks, I penciled this all on. Now to fill it out and to color it, I'm going to take just a regular marker and I am going to trace over all of my words, making sure to trace over those little bubble marks in the middle of some of those words. And then to fill it in, I just took a paint pen, just a black paint pen, and I colored in all the words in that. You can obviously use whatever kind of colors that you want, but I'm just showing you how easy it is to get a nice looking image without having to have a Cricut to cut those letters out. Or for me, for example, I have horrible handwriting, so there's no way that I could just freehand this. I need some help. So if you don't have a Cricut, this is a really great way to get those really nice looking words and fonts on your projects without having to buy a machine. And then to finish it, I'm just going to take a Dollar Tree sign. I just took it apart and then traced the back on top of my image, cut my image out, glued it down to the back of my frame, put it all back together, and that's it. This is so much fun to do. You can do these with free printables. For a lot of my projects, I'll give you guys some free printables. You can do this with all of those that I give you. Just print them out, trace on the back, trace it onto your project, and you have a super cute sign that this literally cost me $1. And I think it's absolutely adorable.
Even if the sky is falling down, jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the
Thank you you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful to give you some ideas of ways that you can make really pretty decor and signs without having to use a Cricut. I know for me, I love using my Cricut, but sometimes you just want to do things a little bit different, mix it up a little bit, or if you don't have one, then these are some really great options for you to be able to make your home decor. Let me know if you've tried any of these out, or if you have any other tips and tricks for transferring images onto your projects. Don't forget to subscribe before you guys leave. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
Even if the sky is falling down,